Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming to our November session of Atlas Answers. Today, we're going to be talking about assistive technology for ADHD and organization. Um, so just as a reminder, this is a monthly session that we're doing, well, every month on a different topic. So last month we talked about executive function. Today we're going to be talking about ADHD and organization. Next month we'll be talking about AT for mobility. And so, we have these short presentations and then we also have time for Q&A as well. I wanted to point out that we have, you can either scan the QR code to view these slides for today, or you can type in that link into your browser, and you should be able to view the PDF version of these slides as well. So let's get started. My name is Rain Sims. I'm an assistive technology specialist here at Easter Seals Crossroads. We are part of the Atlas project, which provides AT services to K-12 educators at public schools in Indiana. So here's kind of what we're going to be doing today. We'll just do a review of what our program is, and then we'll get into our content with ADHD and organization, and then we'll also have time for Q&A. So if you have any questions, you can either type them as you think of them or save them for the end, and we'll be happy to answer them. So as a reminder, the Atlas project is a program that offers an equipment lending library of assistive technology. It is entirely no cost to educators. We have AT specialists that will also show you how to use all of the equipment that is in our lending library. That is through our technical assistance portion of our program. And then we also do 6-week loans as well. So if you find something that you think could be helpful for your students, then you can try out those items for 6 weeks and see how they go. Our two main features of our program is that technical assistance piece where you would be working with one of our specialists, and we come to you wherever you are in Indiana. And if you don't need someone who can come to you and provide that hands-on assistance, we also do equipment loans. And I also just wanted to highlight our catalog. It is K-12 atlas.atforall.com. All right, so let's get into our content for today. So we're talking about ADHD. And when we're thinking about what might be helpful for ADHD, first I want to kind of get on the same page with what do we often see in the classroom when a student falls under this category. We may see characteristics like completing work at the very last minute. We may see them struggling to complete multi-step tasks. We may see them missing deadlines or submitting something late or not at all, losing or forgetting items, difficulty transitioning between tasks, activities, or environments, and difficulty adapting to changes in plans or routines. So I also kind of have the broad like brain categories that these fall into, things like planning, task initiation, working memory, organization, self-regulation, and mental flexibility. So those are the kind of things that when we're thinking about what sort of tools could be helpful for these students, those are the kinds of things that we are trying to address. So the first category that I'd like to talk about is AT for time management and organization. Some of the tools that we have, or first of all, are just good tools in general, but also we have these tools in our library as well that you can try out for yourself. We have things like visual schedules, both in a physical form and also via an app. There are a number of apps that can help you create a visual schedule. This one in particular is called Brilli. And I do find it quite user-friendly. And then also, this is the PEX visual schedule. PEX also makes those the picture cards. If you're familiar with the low-tech AAC system called PEX, these have operate under the same system, and it's a nice visual schedule that you can hang on the wall. There's a place for you to put the cards when they're finished, and there's also little Velcro boards as well that you can create your schedules on. Visual timers are also really helpful for time management and organization. A lot of kiddos with ADHD and adults too tend to have something called time blindness, where it can be really hard to just feel how long a certain amount of time is, whether that's 15 minutes, 5 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. And some of the things that can be helpful with this is visually seeing the passage of time, not just seeing the numbers change on a digital clock or the hands move on an analog clock, but you can see that these colorful visual timers, they show exactly how much of the time period has elapsed. And you can get them in all sorts of different, I guess, denominations. There's like a typical hour, but one that we have here, the time timer plus, this one is a 5-minute one. Moving on to focus. So ADHD, I think one of the things that we often think about is like, that attention deficit part of it, right? And so some tools that can be really helpful for focus, specifically in the classroom environment, are things like noise canceling or noise reducing headphones or earplugs, and also having some sort of like white noise. So this Homedics white noise machine is a very common standard one that is also very inexpensive. Um, and then there's also these earmuffs that they're not like Bluetooth or anything, they're just noise reducing earmuffs. But noise canceling headphones can be helpful for that as well, especially if you have something like an app that plays white noise. And a lot of these you can find for free. And I think even like iOS has a feature that it's just built in that you can have rain sounds or something like that in the background. Some other focus tools. So sensory tools are something that can be really helpful. Things like the foot fidget. So you see on this standing desk here on the right, there's like the little bungee cord thing. And so it's called a foot fidget. It attaches to the legs of either a standard school desk or a chair, and it just provides a way to get some of that energy out, instead of maybe, tapping your leg or tapping your hand on your desk or something like that. And then it could be maybe more disruptive if you're making more noise in the classroom. But something like the foot fidget, the desk fidget is really helpful. The My Magical Cushion is something that you can sit on either on a standard chair or on the floor. And it has both like a bumpy tactile surface, and it also kind of wobbles a bit. And so that can be really helpful if students need to kind of be like moving around or just doing something other than sitting inert. There are also a lot of movement-based apps out there. One of them that I really like and is in our library is called Go Noodle. And so those are really nice for like movement breaks, brain breaks, just getting some energy out before then returning to the task at hand. Moving on to note taking. So these are things that I would suggest more for older students, but even younger students can utilize things like dictation or voice typing. A lot of our younger students are extremely proficient with iPads and phones and things like that. But some of the things that you might consider are things like speech to text software. We have the Dragon Professional speech-to-text software in our catalog. And some of the features of that is that you can add custom words. So, well, my name is Rain, and it's Raine, and it often, if not always, gets misspelled or misheard for voice texting. But with something like Dragon Professional, I could add that as a custom word, and it would make sure that it spells it correctly every time. It also learns from you. And unlike, maybe your voice assistants or typical speech to text, it doesn't just like turn off randomly. It'll stay on as long as you need it to, even if it's like an hour of dictation. Um, and then there's also free versions that you've already probably been familiar with, things like Google Voice typing that you might find on a Chromebook, or the dictation that you might see on an Apple device like an iPad or iPhone. Another item that I really like for note-taking is an app called Evernote. They're adding new features to this all the time. I used this a lot in college, but it's also, there are a lot of more advanced features that are being added. Things like these organizational tools, but also things like, writing out notes and then being able to take a picture of those notes and having it converted to text, or saving, the like voice recordings, or even having that speech to text. Those are some nice features of Evernote, and that's available to try as well. So before we wrap up, I just wanted to give you some tips on how to actually use AT with students. How, we've got these tools, we're going to try out Evernote, or we're going to try out Dragon Professional, but what now? So some of these tips that I have, I think number one, involving the student in the selection process and letting them explore the assistive technology tools. So this is really helpful for getting that buy-in, and also the having the student have some more autonomy over, their choices and their needs and their supports. The second one I have on here is creating a plan that outlines goals for using the AT, as well as strategies, and providing clear expectations on what it's going to look like to the student, the family, and other educators. For example, is this going to go back and forth between school and home for the student? Is it going to live in a particular classroom? Just having those things outlined so that it's all out in the open and clear. And then the third tip that I have here is integrating AT into daily routines, and providing ongoing training and support to normalize its use. So, it might be really great if maybe one person is really excited about the AT, but over the course of the day, the student is likely interacting with a whole bunch of different educators and other service providers. And so having that well-trained team, having everyone on board, know how to use it, as well as just integrating it into the daily routine, not having it just be something you pull out on a special occasion, but having it be something that is normalized, is really helpful for encouraging use and also getting good at it so that the student can be more proficient and be able to maximize the support. All right, so that kind of concludes our presentation portion of today's Atlas Answers. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, or raise your hand or unmute yourself and feel free to ask your question. We'll do our best to answer them, but I also included some links here to our website catalog, as well as how you can get technical assistance from our program, our email, mailing list, and our socials, a whole bunch of links. If you have the PDF version of the slides, which you can get at this link down in the right corner, then you can also click all of those links. So thank you for joining us.